The Combat Sports Report has begun. Let's do this thing. I am Gabe Morency on the SportsGrid Television Network, Roku, and much more. We got a massive show lined up for you tonight. We got a UFC White House recap. We got best bets of the week. We got our videos of the week. But the countdown to the Liberty Brawl is on right now. And you guys know we have a BKFC fighter on weekly. And we've had pretty much every fighter in the company on, except for kind of like the man himself, Mr. No Doubt himself, a man that's like, keeps on rewriting the history books and doing really, really special things right now. Of course, former WBA light middleweight champion of the world steps in to BKFC, wins the middleweight championship. Now looking to add another strap to the trophy case and the mantle, fighting on July 3rd against Ben Bonner at the Xfinity Mobile Arena in Philadelphia, PA. The one and only Austin Trout steps up and in. Austin, welcome to the Combat Sports Report, my man. Thanks for joining us.
Gabe, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure and an honor to be here, champ.
Hey, man, same thing, champ. We're stoked to have you on the program. It's been a long time coming. Always been a big fan of yours, so we'll get right down to business. I got to ask you, man, you fought, the best in the world. You're a former, boxing champion. You've made money. You fought in the biggest venues in the world. There had to be people around you that said, you got to be kidding me, Austin. BKFC? You're going bare knuckles? You're going to go fight in smaller halls. You're not going to make as much money. Why would you want to do this? And here you are now, fighting in what's probably going to be a sold-out arena in Philadelphia. The legacy continues. The big venues continue. Did you see this as part of God's plan, so to speak? Did you think the BKFC would blow up like this? What made you say, yeah, you know what? BKFC is for me.
Well, before they asked me if I would do it, I was already kind of watching and I was a fan. And I already told myself, like, man, if the opportunity came and the money was right, the opponent was right, I'd do it. And so when they presented it to me, I was like, well, I've already said yes in my mind, and they're already giving me the right opportunity, the right payment, the right opponent. Yeah, let's do it. And my first fight with 2023 against Diego Sanchez, I was victorious. I get called out by the champion, Palomino. So, my second fight, I had a title shot. I won the title. I'm in here now. Did I know that it was going to be so big? I did. I had a feeling BKFC was going to be as big as it is. And that's why I was like, I'm down to do it. It's the next best thing that's popping right now. Also, God's plan is funny because it's eerily, subconsciously, it was my plan. And I feel like God gave me that plan because he's like, look, bro, if you want to be linked with me, here's the desire I need for you. You know what I mean? It's definitely a blessing. I mean, headlining July 3rd, America's 250th birthday in America's first capital. It's dreams come true. Dreams still coming true.
In what is become, too, Philadelphia, always a great boxing town, obviously with the history, but it's really become the lifeblood of BKFC with these massive cards. And the Philly fight fans just absolutely, eat this stuff up. How much does your experience help against, I got to believe there's nothing that comes at you now that you haven't seen before. Like travel, you've done traveling, different opponents, you've done different opponents, different venues, pressure. And people admit to me all the time, yeah, I didn't think I was going to get nervous, but I walked out and there was 18,000 people, I did. Or when I fought in Vegas at MGM for the first time, I tried to impress people, and you've been there and you've done all this. How much has your experience meant for you in BKFC against guys that haven't fought on the highest stage like you have?
Well, the thing about my is that it gives me an edge over every opponent that I have in the BKFC. I believe my experience has been giving me the edge. That and my IQ. I feel like I'm smarter than every fighter in the game. And I think that's one of my biggest assets is my IQ. And the next biggest asset is my experience. You know, I'm not the fastest, I'm not the strongest, I'm not the slickest, but I know how to put what I do have together. And that's where the IQ comes. And then the experience of how to use that against various opponents, that's where the experience comes from. So those two things that you can't really fake. You can't fake experience, you can't fake IQ, and I have both of those things. It's my biggest assets.
And not to disrespect your opponent and Ben Bonner, he doesn't pretend to be the most technical guy, right? He wants to stand, he wants to brawl, he wants to get into a phone booth. And like a lot of fighters that you fought before, he won't be able to handle my power. Yeah, he's technical, but he hasn't seen, what I'm going to do before. It sounds cliche of him to say that, right, Austin? But I'm thinking, yeah, he's not going to out technically you anyway, so at least he's being honest, right? He's going to try to knock you out, but you know that, right? So you kind of know that. You kick back, you counter this. You've seen this movie before.
Look, I've been here hundreds of times, and literally hundreds of times. I grew up in New Mexico, so I grew up fighting Mexican-style fighters who would just come forward, take a good shot just to give one of their own shots. Then fast forward to my amateur days where I'm in Korea, I'm in Azerbaijan, I'm in Greece, I'm all over the world fighting in other people's backyards. Then fast forward to my pro days when the only way I could get a shot is if I went to someone's hometown in Mexico, in Canada, in Panama, wherever it was, and fight the hometown guy. I'm not taking Ben Bonner lightly. Don't make it twisted, but I don't believe there's anything Ben Bonner has that I have not seen. In fact, I know it. I'm watching his fights. I'm watching his past fights, his best fights, his worst fights, and I know that as long as I'm in shape, as long as I work hard and I'm consistent, I'll be fine.
What more can you accomplish? You can add another championship here. How much longer do you want to do this? You're sort of showing that age isn't a thing. And honestly, in the fight game now, there's a lot of dudes. Look at Justin the other night, Justin Gaethje, right? 30 years old, sort of reaching the peak, the pinnacle of his career, man, at 38, right? Like Arlovsky came into BKFC and got the strap, right? So how do you feel right now? How many more years do you have left in you?
I feel great right now. I don't want to put a number on it for two reasons. I would hate to have a number and I should have never waited for that number. I should have stopped before it came. Or the other side, I put a number and I hit that number and I just stopped because I said it's that number, and then it's like I had a lot more left that I could have done. I really, after every fight, I look back, I assess, all right, how do you feel? How do you feel moving forward? How was camp? Do you want to do camp again? Because really, it's not the fighting. I love fighting. Fighting is so fun, but it's the camps that I am not in love with. And, as long as I can stay like, no, I will go and I will do camp full force. And as long as I'm still willing to do that, then I'm still willing to fight. The moment I don't feel like doing that, especially like a hard camp, that's the moment I need to stop. I don't want to be one of these guys that the game retires instead of retiring from the game. So I'm very mindful of not just my age and my ability. I'm still beating up young kids in the gym. That's not a problem. I'm still sharp. I'm still clean. I don't know how long I'm going to do this. I don't see it happening for too much longer, to be honest. I'm not in love with camps anymore. I'm sick of running. I'm sick of training.
Yeah, that's what John Elway said after he won back-to-back Super Bowls. Said, yeah, the game was fun. He goes, the off-season getting in shape is not, right? He brought that up. Hey, you're a legend, champ, man. It's an honor to have you on the show. Best of luck on July 3rd. We can't wait to see history in the making, my man.
Thank you so much.
Hey there, it's your buddy Craig Carton. If you're trying to find out how to get all the great content that me and Tyrone Johnson give you every single day, here's Tyrone to tell you how.
You can subscribe on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, and of course, Amazon Music as well. We're at all four.
That's right. It's the Craig Carton Show podcast every weekday morning live at 11, replayed at noon on YouTube and on SportsGrid throughout the country. Check it out.
Their pitching has been really good in their bullpen too. So Chris Getz, their general manager, credit to him. This guy was getting pounded a couple of years ago for decisions and everything like that, but man, it is seemingly working out. The fans, by the way, all of a sudden are pouring in there. Their attendance is on the rise too. So a great sign that the White Sox are in this thing. Now, long term, I don't know. Like, is this a postseason team? Is it a deep postseason team?
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Are you ready for el verano más futbolero de tu vida? Latin Nation Football Club turns into Copa Nation, our live stream experience every day de lunes a viernes, 11 a.m. Pacific and 2 p.m. Pacific as well. Checking in after the games. In that slot between games, we got you, my friend. We're going to have celebrities, legends of the game, content creators, and a bunch of our friends that are going to keep you entertained and informed, letting you know what's happening all across the 3 countries that are going to be experiencing this crazy, crazy football tournament. Don't miss it. Copa Nation right here on Latin Nation every day. Check it out.
Combat Sports Report continues. I am Gabe Morency on the SportsGrid Television Network. Thanks to Austin Trout for kicking it with us. And it's one of those unfortunate deals. I was really looking forward to having him on the show. We were talking before he came on for a couple of minutes, and the connection was great. He was actually walking down the street, and it actually would have been better if we just would have kept him walking down the street, to be honest. But he got in his car, and then weird stuff started happening. There was like people backing up into his car before we started, or like it was just sort of one thing after another. So we'll get Austin on and we'll have more of an extended talk with him down the road. But we wish him the best of luck on Friday night, July the 3rd, the Liberty Brawl. So, of course, the UFC had their White House card. BKFC's doing a Liberty Brawl. Get it instead of the Liberty Bell in Philadelphia on July 3rd. But as far as the UFC card at the White House was concerned, there was a lot of speculation about it and anticipation and build-up and then concern about the weather. But when it was all said and done, it was a smash success. And honestly, I don't think it really could have gone any better than it actually did for the UFC. I would say the only thing, it was a little bit long, right? It was a little bit extended with all the video features and the pageantry. But, like, really, you had Justin Gaethje coming out of the Oval Office and stuff like that. Like, it was, like, the most surreal thing ever. Like, that's to me what stood out. It was just like, this is just strange. Like, it just felt weird. It was cool. I thought what was really cool about it was all the fans that showed up. And I wondered how many people would really show up to watch a UFC event on a video screen in a park on a Sunday night at 1 a.m, essentially. But they did. They did. And it was a raucous crowd. People enjoyed it. They enjoyed the card. There were enjoyable fights along the way. So it was a smash success, except if you're Ilia Topuria. I guess there was a smash, but your face got smashed. And all I can say is, wow. Justin Gaethje. I mean, people underestimated Justin Gaethje coming into this fight. I underestimated Justin Gaethje coming into this fight, but I shouldn't have, and it's my fault for doing so. Let's be real. In the second round, it looked as if, though, like in the second round, I was like, yeah, you know what? Because I really like Justin Gaethje, and I bet on him a lot. And, like, I go, like, old school with him back to the World Series of Fighting, the WSOF and stuff. And he was the champ there, and he wasn't in the UFC yet. And, like, I've known about Gaethje, like, since he's came into the business, essentially. And I made a lot of money off him over the years. But you get caught up in the hype. Right? You get caught up in the hype of fighters and, how you going to beat this guy? And Gaethje, one thing about Gaethje is he's very hittable, right? He gets into these brawls and these exchanges. And let's be real. In the second round, I thought Gaethje was done. And I think the problem was Topuria thought he was done as well. And he hit him with numerous body shots and liver shots, and that's what makes Topuria special, and he is shorter as well, right? So, like, he punches the body a lot more than a lot of other fighters do. Those body shots are, like, vicious. And he hit Gaethje, like, 6 to 10 times in a row once, like, right in the liver area. Like, boom, 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 like combos, like bam, 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 bam. And you could see Gaethje was wobbly a little bit, and it was like, oh, yeah. But Topuria ran out of time in the second round. He ran out of time, and Justin Gaethje told my boy Pat McAfee when they did the lead-up in the interviews, he said to Topuria, he goes, you know, I'm going to break your will. It's going to freak you out that you can't knock me out, and we're in the third and fourth round, and you're going to have nothing left because you're so used to basically knocking everybody out right away, but you won't be able to knock me out. And Topuria laughed and basically said, I'll be able to knock you out in the first round. Gaethje talked about it after, saying that Topuria put too much pressure on himself, and Topuria was looking for the knockout early. And so it's almost like hitting a home run in baseball. Like, it's hard to hit a home run if you're trying to hit a home run. You know what I mean? Like, even home run hitters will tell you, I'm just trying to make contact, and, you know, the ball will go over the wall most of the time. But, like, a lot of fighters don't call their shots, especially, again, on the level of this caliber of fighters. It's not easy to pull a Babe Ruth, call your shot. Yeah, I'm going to knock out Justin Gaethje in the first round. And Topuria, freaking tried to. He tried to. And, like I said, I thought he was going to do it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, near the end of the first round, you could see he was starting to connect a lot. And then it carried over to the second round where he was just pummeling Gaethje. And then it got into the third round, and then, boom, Gaethje just started, tagging him. And Gaethje called it. He broke his will. And also, earlier in the fight, Gaethje sort of caught him a bit. It didn't really hurt Topuria, but it caught him over the eye. And he started bleeding, and Gaethje, being the vet that he is, started to attack it and just sort of punch in that area. And then the blood started to gush more and more, and you could see that Topuria was having a hard time seeing out of one of his eyes. And then Gaethje, being the evil son of a bitch that he is, went for the other eye and basically blinded him in both of his eyes. The fight should have been stopped in the third. He said on the stool, I can't see, but they overrid the doctors, basically, which you never really see. But it was what it was. But it was quite the spectacle. And, hey, Justin Gaethje at 30 years old, man, is on top of the world right now. And unlike Alex Pereira, who I respect the hell out of, but unlike Alex Pereira, who is using excuses and saying that Gane hit him with illegal shots and Cyril Gane got lucky and caught him with a lucky jab. It's like, bro, we beat the living crap out of you, okay? There was nothing lucky about it. If you guys fought again, if Gaethje and Topuria fought again, in 2 weeks, whatever, once they healed, Topuria would probably win. You know what I mean? If Gane and Pereira fought again in 2 weeks, Gane would win again, easily. Right? And I don't want to break your heart, Pereira, but BetOnline has actually made Josh Hoken a -160 favorite against you. More on the other side. Combat Sports Report continues.
I don't always do a great job of delivering it in the right way. I will admit that. But I think overall, when you're honest with people, they know they can trust you. That, I think the last thing you want to be is somebody who BS's people, and then they don't know if what you're saying is true, if you're manipulating them.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio, only on SportsGrid.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
Wembanyama goes to the park and plays chess against people. I saw him come in with a book today. Yeah. He walked in with a book, Kevin. He had a bunch of books in his hand. I was thinking to myself, I'm like, he's the only NBA player that actually walks in with a book that actually read it.
Yeah. It's a good take. Yeah.
Shot of LeBron.
Listen,
I couldn't help
I
it.
knew that I was trying to cut you off before you said the name.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Hey there, it's your buddy Craig Carton. If you're trying to find out how to get all the great content that me and Tyrone Johnson give you every single day, here's Tyrone to tell you how.
You can subscribe on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, and of course, Amazon Music as well. We're at all four.
That's right. It's the Craig Carton Show podcast every weekday morning live at 11, replayed at noon on YouTube and on SportsGrid throughout the country. Check it out.
Combat Sports Report continues. I am Morency. We're breaking down the UFC card from the White House and the sort of fallout following the card. And I brought this up as far as Alex Pereira is concerned. And listen, it's easy to say after, and I didn't get the Gaethje upset. I didn't call the Gaethje upset. But we did have we had a pretty good night, and we were on Cyril Gane. And it's easy to say after, Cyril Gane at plus 100 was free money. But it is sad to see Pereira saying that Cyril Gane got lucky, that Gane got lucky, and that he landed a lucky punch and then a bunch of illegal strikes. Now, I will say, live it did appear as if though a couple of times that Gane did recklessly elbow him in the back of the head a few times, right? But dude, you got dominated. You didn't have a hope in hell. You look terrible. Let's just call it out for what it is. And he got too big. He got way too big, man. The dude came in weighing more than Cyril Gane did. You lost all your speed advantage. And it's easy to say after now, but dude, it's humid, it's hot, you're outdoors. You got a dude that's not used to fighting at heavyweight. Another thing is, you were knocking out light heavyweights before and stuff like that. He's come up so many ways. I mean, he started out as a rival against Adesanya, right? So, yeah, you can put on the weight, but you've been punching dudes that aren't used to getting punched like a guy like Cyril Gane is against heavy, big men like Ngannou. So you could tell early that Gane didn't respect Pereira's power, and he knew that he was the faster man of the two of them, and he just started teeing off on him as it went on. But Alex Pereira is blaming Herb Dean, which isn't the first time that Herb Dean's been thrown under the bus. Pereira feels as though that he got hit with a bunch of illegal elbows and strikes. He called about Herb Dean. He's not a real man. He should be punished. It's a very serious job. He should face legal consequences. He's a coward. I have no respect for him whatsoever. Wow. Pretty strong words from Alex Pereira about Herb Dean. listen, as I stated, Herb Dean has been criticized ad nauseum over the years for allowing fights to go on or missing things. But as I stated, I'm not buying this, bro. Yeah, was there an elbow or two? But whatever, dude. You put yourself in that position, and you basically got dominated by him. So don't cry about it now. And now we're going to get a Tom Aspinall, Cyril Gane rematch. Aspinall's agreed to it. Cyril Gane called his shot and said this time it's in Paris. And I can't wait to see that fight because Cyril Gane was looking great in the first round against Aspinall. But a story that has broke following the UFC White House card is the fact that the FBI arrested 5 people for plotting an attack on the actual event with drones. Law enforcement officials disrupted a planned attack targeting the UFC Freedom 250 show at the White House, according to court papers unsealed on Tuesday that say plotters disgruntled with the direction of the country spoke of an explosive-laden drone and shooting panic into the crowd. So they weren't going to drop a bomb and stuff, but they wanted to like freak people out with like a drone, like sort of like attack. The FBI obtained encrypted text message between roughly 20 participants who shared detailed maps of the area, discussed the need for a safe house and escape routes after the attack. It was unclear from the court records how close the would-be attackers would have become to carry out their plan. FBI agents learned about the possible threat on June 10th, 4 days before the mixed martial arts extravaganza on the South Lawn. Thanks to the rapid action of the FBI, our partners in Department of Justice, multiple individuals now in custody. So, always craziness going on behind the scenes. All right, so we're up against it right now. Our boy Tom Zaffino going to step up and say what you will about the UFC. Say what you will about the UFC. You can't say that they're lazy because they got another card like this week. Like you'd figure out they need a little break right after the White House. No, there's another one. So if they got another card, it means we got more bets to break down. And we got some videos of the week as well. Combat Sports Report, SportsGrid Television Network continues. Bring it. The Combat Sports Report continues. I am Gabe Morency as the fallout continues following UFC Freedom 250. So many storylines that we've been talking about throughout the program this evening. And speaking about Alex Pereira and talking about the what he believed to be illegal shots to the back of the head, Herb Dean has responded, and we'll play you Herb Dean's response a little bit later on in the program. But Alex Pereira was like literally one of the most respected fighters like ever, and he is tarnishing his reputation quicker than like I've seen anybody do it, following a loss with like, all right, saying that Cyril Gane landed a lucky jab and that there were illegal hits, and Herb Dean's a coward and Herb Dean sucks, and now he's talking about he's going to sue everybody. You know, he wants, like, he was put in a dangerous situation, you know, by the UFC and by Herb Dean and by Cyril Gane, and he's, you know, watch out, he's coming for everybody. It's like, dude, you lost the fight. You went up to heavyweight, you got your ass handed to you, you lost the fight, right? I mean, and it's crazy. Like I said, people just respect the hell out of this guy, and, like, it's like, really? This is like a Colby Covington type of move, not an Alex Pereira type of move. Oh, I'm going to call the cops. Like, you know what I mean? I'm calling the police. Let's bring in Tom Zaffino right now. Tom, hell of a night. It was surreal seeing, hell, Justin Gaethje walking out of the effing Oval Office, looking at the Declaration of Independence, as surreal as it's going to get. But the fallout post-card is kind of crazy to me that Pereira has taken this route, that not only is he not accepting defeat, now he wants to sue everybody.
Yeah. I do see his point. He did take some shots to the back of the head for sure. He got dropped. He got hurt with that jab. That was a beautiful punch. He was, doing pretty good to get back to his feet. He was trying to hold on, try to get a takedown, do whatever he could to recover. There were a couple elbows that landed to the back of the head. There was a couple punches. It's one of those things where it's heat of the moment type thing. All in all, I understand where he's coming from, but at the same time, these things happen in fights all the time. And it is just kind of what it is. It's not going to really change anything. Nobody's going to look at that fight any differently, even if the appeal is upheld, which I don't think that will be. They never are. But it was interesting. I mean, it was a great card. It's tough to kind of tarnish it with stuff like this. But overall, I mean, I had super high expectations for the visuals, and I thought the card was, I thought everything was better than I could have even expected. So, I mean, I know they're probably not going to do it again, but man, that was one of the coolest cards I've ever watched.
Yeah, they did. You are right. Like, they went over the top, even like with the production and what they would have been cool either way. But no one can dispute the beauty of the production. And to me, the most impressive thing really was the fans. And I'm not talking about the politicians, like on the lawn, so to speak, but the 80,000 plus, that actually were gathered outside. Super impressive to get that crowd and that environment and everything. And then Justin Gaethje and Topuria to put on that just an absolute classic. Let's call it out for what it is. And it's amazing. Like, there's such a fine line, Tom, between winning and losing, and loving, hating life, winning and losing a bet, winning and losing a fight, etc. Because Gaethje's on top of the world right now, but you can't tell me, like I thought many times in the second round, that Gaethje was completely done. Like, he was getting lit up, bro. Like, it was like Rocky hitting like the cattle, you know what I mean? And Sylvester Stallone and Rocky. Like, the liver shots, boom, the body shots, bam, bam. Like Justin was hurt for real, but he's just a crazy, psychotic son of a bitch. Like, you know what I mean? And he called it. He said, Topuria, your will's going to be broken when you realize you can't really hurt me. And Topuria's will got broken when he was like, damn, I threw everything I had at this guy, landed clean that would have knocked anyone else out. He's still standing, and now the third and fourth round changed, obviously. He couldn't see anymore, but hell of a performance for Gaethje. Happy for him.
Yeah, I mean, how can you not be? If you're an MMA fan, like, that was one of the guttiest performances you'll ever see. It's a classic Justin Gaethje performance. And what was interesting, in the second round, there was a point in the second round where I was like, man, Topuria really is that guy. I was impressed with, like you said, the body shots on the ground, the way he was just, moving him around however he wanted to. Oh, did you see
how he moved him like a tackling dummy once with the legs? He flipped him over. And smaller guys, like, we're talking about Justin Gaethje, he was a wrestler. I saw the same thing. I was like, oh, my God. He just, like, reverse guard, reverse move. He was like, nah, I don't like Justin's leg here. I'm going to flip his body around. Like, just casually lifted him up and, like, put him over. It was like it was in slow motion. Like, it was that easy. Unbelievable. You said, but Justin's that resilient. I guess that's the word, resiliency for Gaethje.
Well, at the end of the round, too, with like a minute left in the round, when Topuria just kind of laid down on him and put his head on the mat, I went right to the book. I was like, what is the line on Gaethje? Because he emptied the tank. You could see it. And so I bet Gaethje, because I had a bet on Topuria coming into that. And
so you were a smart man. You caught on that it wasn't going your way.
Yeah, I saw it pretty clearly. So it was like minus 115 at that point. Well, when I was able to make the bet, it was like minus 115, and I was totally fine. I was like, I'm going to bet that, and we're going to move on, because it was just clear to me. And then in the third round, you could see it. Topuria's, he was still throwing good strikes, but the power wasn't there. The confidence clearly wasn't there, and Gaethje was just doing his thing and just busting him up.
And he was losing his vision along the way, right? The blood was in his eye, and then he couldn't see out of the second eye. Like, it was a disaster for him. But at least Topuria, after, guys, manned up. He said, I talked a lot of smack. He said, you said you were going to break my face. You broke my face. He basically said, and I like what he said, too. He said, no excuses. He goes, I had a great camp. I felt great. I thought I had a good fight. I didn't win. I'll see you again. Like, that's how you handle it, right? I lost respect for Pereira, and I gained respect. And Topuria was one of those guys that I respected his ability, but I did think he was such a douchebag and just such a, just such a smug dude. But it was nice to see him handle defeat the way that he did, actually.
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime a champion loses and they face the music, like, you have to appreciate it. I remember back in the day, Dominic Cruz lost the title, went to the press conference. They asked him, why are you here? And he said, why wouldn't I be here? I fought a fight. I lost. Now I gotta take my loss. Like,
you know what I don't like though sometimes, Tom, is guys in the cage after will say it. Paddy Pimblett did that against Justin, right? Paddy in the cage after, hey, you know what? This guy is tougher than I realized, man. Hell, this guy's great. Yeah, give it to him. And then always 4 or 5 days later when they get back home, well, I watched it and I realized I got screwed, or I was they always change after. So I'm going to wait for Topuria before I give him too many bouquets here, before he goes, well, actually, I really didn't lose, or he's lucky that I couldn't see, but I don't think that's going to be the case. That'll be the case. But a super fun card at the White House. But listen, we're at the Apex, and everyone's like, really? More UFC? But yeah, we got more UFC, and we got Horiguchi. We got a rematch with Horiguchi and Kopp, going back from 2017 when they fought in Japan. And we got about 30 seconds here, Tom. But I tell you what, this is an intriguing card for betting purposes. So there's some interesting fights, some fun fights, and I'm looking forward to seeing this Rodriguez-Emil fight. I mean, that should be some fireworks right there. Two tough dudes that just want to swing and bang, but the over still could be in play there. We'll get to the best bets on the other side.
Are you ready for el verano más futbolero de tu vida? Latin Nation Football Club turns into Copa Nation, our live stream experience every day, de lunes a viernes, 11 a.m. Pacific and 2 p.m. Pacific as well. Checking in after the games. In that slot between games, we got you, my friend. We're going to have celebrities, legends of the game, content creators, and a bunch of our friends that are going to keep you entertained and informed, letting you know what's happening all across the 3 countries that are going to be experiencing this crazy, crazy football tournament. Don't miss it. Copa Nation right here on Latin Nation every day. Check it out.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
Their pitching has been really good in their bullpen too. So Chris Gaethje, their general manager, credit to him. This guy was getting pounded a couple of years ago for decisions and everything like that, but man, it is seemingly working out. The fans, by the way, all of a sudden are pouring in there. Their attendance is on the rise too. So a great sign that the White Sox are in this thing. Now, long term, I don't know. Like, is this a postseason team? Is it a deep postseason team?
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Combat Sports Report continues. So we've got UFC Vegas 119. It's at the Apex in Las Vegas. Horiguchi and Kopp is the main event. As I mentioned a couple of minutes ago, they did fight. Horiguchi beat him in 2017, but that was a long time ago. And Kopp was like 23 years old only then. He's a minus 160 favorite in this fight. The odds makers are expecting revenge in this fight. I'm actually intrigued by this, Tom. Yeah, I don't hide it either. Some cards I'm like, this card sucks, and there's a fight or two that I like and I'll bet on. But there's, you got a lot of veteran fighters on this card. You got up and comer fighters on this card, and you got some violent fighters on this card. That's what I like. You got a lot of bangers here. What's your take on Horiguchi and Kopp?
Yeah, this is a great fight. I mean, Horiguchi, he's made his return to the UFC. He's gone 2-0 since coming back. He's looked really good. I mean, the guy has one loss in the UFC. I think he's like 10-1 in his career in the UFC. The one loss was to Demetrius Johnson, got submitted with no time left on the clock in the 5th round in a championship fight. So the guy's the real deal. I've been on him since he got back to the UFC. Obviously, this is a really tough matchup here. This is the biggest, the hardest fight he's had since returning. I like Kopp. I mean, I think he's really good. I think the one thing I don't like about Kopp is he kind of plays around a little bit too much. He gets kind of animated in there, does the dancing thing. He's a little bit low volume, but he's extremely powerful. He could land that big shot at any time. I expect this fight to be really close, really competitive. I mean, they have fought each other in the past. Obviously, that was a long time ago. But, Horiguchi as a dog here in a 5-round fight, I think he's going to have the better volume. And I don't really think Kopp's going to hurt him. I mean, he could. Kopp's just, like I said, he's got that power. But I'm just kind of leaning on the dog here. We see it time and time again. We saw it last week, the dog in the main event. They just keep coming through. Sean Strickland, a month or so ago, it just happens over and over again. And over the course of 5 rounds, I think these guys are pretty evenly matched. So, yeah, I'm going to take the shot here with Horiguchi.
Horiguchi plus 140 right now. BetOnline.ag. The fight I brought up earlier, and it's one of the prelim cards. I think it might be one, the first one on the main, actually. But Rodriguez and Haider Emil. Emil's a plus 150 underdog. Rodriguez is minus 175. The total is 2.5, minus 165 to the over. I'm looking forward to this fight. I know you've got this fight circled as well. What's your opinion on it?
Yeah, it's funny because when I saw it booked, I thought Emil. I like his power. I like, I like his overall game. He takes a lot of damage, which is a problem. And then I kind of dug into it a little bit, and Rodriguez he's a dog, man. He's a guy that just continues to grind it out. He's won fights where he's a massive dog and he's gotten annihilated in the first round, and then he just keeps coming. The cardio's there. The volume's pretty good with him. I think I like this fight to go over. I like it. It probably goes to decision, but I bet C-Rod over 1.5 at -105. I just think he's going to outlast him. He's got the better cardio, and even if he does lose that first round, as long as he doesn't get knocked out, which, I mean, he's a pretty durable guy in general. And Emil's last fight, he's on a 2-fight losing streak. He did not look great in his last fight. He kind of looked a little weathered, which, could be a sign of things to come. So I just think the C-Rod cardio and the volume and the durability and toughness is going to be enough for him to get it done. And I think it goes long. So the over 1.5 gets it, almost even money. So that's the way I'm looking at this one.
Kind of feels like there's a couple of fights here that can get there as far as over 2.5 is concerned. Vinicius Oliveira and Andre Fili. You got a 2.5 at -115. Fili's plus 225. I don't know if you got an opinion on that one, but what are you looking at? What do you have circled for your best bet so far on this card?
Well, I am looking at that fight. I'm very curious. That's one of the more intriguing fights on the card. Fili is a guy that it's just tough to get him right. He kind of rotates wins and losses, but when he wins, he looks like one of the best guys in the world. He looks phenomenal. And then he loses like these close decisions. He's had a lot of split decisions. And it's just like, you kind of question, like, is he done? Like, it's weird. And it's kind of been like that for a couple years, but I want to see what the weigh-ins look like. Cause Oliveira, he's moving up in weight class, which is probably good for him. He was cutting a ton of weight in that Bautista fight. They talked about 50, 60 pounds fight week. I'm sure that was probably exaggerated, but he was a guy that was cutting a lot of weight. He's moving up here. He's got, he's at a size disadvantage in this spot. Fili's a pretty decent sized guy. He's got good range. So I don't really ever feel comfortable betting Fili, but I am interested to see what the weigh-ins look like. I want to see if Oliveira actually, is he one of these like Gastelum type guys who can't make weight at a lower weight class, moves up, and then still can't make weight. So I am looking at this fight pretty closely, but I'm not going to have a strong take on who wins it until I see those weigh-ins.
Another veteran fighter who's an underdog, Cutabella, plus 255 against Sterling, -330, Tom. This is one of the few fights on the card, actually, that has a total of 1.5 and not a 2.5 or more.
Yeah, I like the over 1.5 in that one, too, because I think Cutelaba is going to come out and try to take him down. Sterling has pretty good takedown defense. I mean, he's a striker, but he's a city kickboxing striker, and most of those guys have good takedown defense. They keep the fight standing. I think Cutelaba could have some success early. Sterling, not the highest volume guy. He was a finisher before coming to the UFC. He got a finish in his last fight, but he's not really a finisher in general from what we've seen in his UFC run. So I think that fight goes over. I think Sterling probably ends up getting it because Cutelaba gasses out. He tends to fade after the first round. But, I like Sterling. I like the over there.
No rest for the wicked following a Sunday night card at the White House, now to Las Vegas for the Apex UFC 119. Tom Zaffino is going to be breaking it down with his crew. Tom, where can people find you online?
You can watch my podcast. It's called That's Deep. I do that with my buddy Johnny Nelson. That's Thursday nights on the Keg and Cope YouTube channel. And then, check my social media at TommyZ_MMA.
Do a great job of delivering it in the right way. I will admit that, but I think overall, when you're honest with people, they know they can trust you. That, you know, I think the last thing you want to be is somebody who BS's people, and then they don't know if what you're saying is true, if you're manipulating them.
Outspoken with Dan Sileo. Only on SportsGrid.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
Wembanyama goes to the park and plays chess against people. Like, I saw him come in with a book today. Yeah. He walked in with a book, Kevin. He had a bunch of books in his hand. I was thinking to myself, I'm like, he's the only NBA player that actually walks in with a book that actually read it.
Yeah. It's a good take. It's a good take. Yeah.
Shot of LeBron.
Listen,
I couldn't help
I
it.
knew that I was trying to cut you off before you said the name.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Hey there, it's your buddy Craig Carton. If you're trying to find out how to get all the great content that me and Tyrone Johnson give you every single day, here's Tyrone to tell you how.
You can subscribe on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, and of course, Amazon Music as well. We're at all four.
That's right. It's the Craig Carton Show podcast every weekday morning live at 11, replayed at noon on YouTube and on SportsGrid throughout the country. Check it out.
All right, we're to the final round right now. We'll get to our videos of the week, but we've been talking a lot about Alex Pereira. We'll get to Herb Dean's response momentarily, but Alex Pereira has now announced that he's appealing the result of the fight and pursuing legal action. Now, appealing is one thing. I don't have a problem with an appeal of a fight. Like, if you feel as though something happened and like you're adamant about it, I don't have a problem with you appealing, but pursuing legal action? Like, so what? Like, who do you want to sue? You want to sue the UFC? You want to sue Herb Dean? You want to sue, like, who? Cyril Gahn for beating you up? You're a fighter. You got dropped. Was there an illegal elbow or two that landed or a shot in the back of the head or whatnot? Like, I don't know. You know what I mean? We'll get Herb Dean's response to it. Live, it seemed like yes, but I got to be honest. I mean, they changed the rules, right? They've loosened things up with the point and the kicks and stuff when you're down, right? There's a lot of, so it wasn't like there was anything like over the top dirty. You were getting beat up and he landed a couple of shots. So, like, put it this way. Did Matt Hamill, John Jones only lost to Matt Hamill, all right? Matt Hamill didn't win the fight. Matt Hamill was getting murdered in the fight. And John Jones elbowed him in the back of the head, and they stopped it. And John Jones lost, the no contest, and like he lost the fight. That's like the blemish on his record, right? To me, it's the same thing. It's like, dude, you didn't lose because something illegal. It's not like they took out a steel chair. You know what I mean? This isn't like, oh, I used brass knuckles. He took out a steel chair and he hit me over the back of the head with it. It's like, no. He beat you up, and yeah, there was a couple of elbows in the back of the head or something. It's a fight, bro. Grow up. Come on. Never expected this from Boateng, and never. Not from Alex Pereira. This is him, his quote. It became a life-threatening situation. We don't know how it's going to affect me long term. We're going to talk to our lawyers, and the bill is going to come for some people. Like what people? You're a fighter, bro. Like, seriously. All right, let's hear what Herb Dean has to say. Pereira's gone hard, called him a coward, called him incompetent, said he should be fired, and has basically threatened to sue him. Let's see what Herb Dean has to say.
The rule we're talking about is the back of the head, and that's confusing because it's different than boxing, and the way we enforce this rule is we focus on the nape of the neck, and that's really what the rule should be called. The nape of the neck or occipital junction also covers the spine, and it covers a line right here with 1-inch variance to either side. So right here. This is what we go over in a rules meeting. I will let them know that this area is a foul, off limits, that this area is a fair blow. Here is a fair blow. Turn to the side so we can see it here. Here is a fair blow. Here is a foul. Hopefully that's useful to you guys and clear things up at all.
Well, you know what? That actually was pretty clear, I thought. And, well described by Herb Dean. I mean, if you're watching this show, you're a fight fan. And if you're a fight fan, have you ever heard of a fighter complaining and threatening lawsuits after because he got beat up? And, it's like a boxer taking a low blow in a fight. It's like a boxer lost the fight, got beat up in a fight, and whatever. He got hit in the nuts a couple of times in the fight. Or Tom Aspinall. Did Tom Aspinall say, I'm going to sue Cyril Gane after because he eye poked me? There is a thought with fighters, though. I'm not going to dismiss this, that they think that Cyril Gane is dirty. But I don't know. How can you be dirty? It's a fight. And there's judges and wherever the world is watching, you guys are all talking, like I said, he's using a steel chair in front of, and we're all looking the other way or something. If you don't like him, beat him, basically. Is he a little edgy in the same way John Jones used to eye poke people all the time, too? It is what it is. It's a fight game, man. Speaking of the fight game, I don't know what the hell's going on with these RAF guys, but it seems like they have a lot of fun at these wrestling tournaments that always turn into big brawls. Shamayev and Dylan Dennis. No wonder the WWE ratings are down. You got this stuff going on. That's better than WWE. You got some serious shots being thrown to some mean dudes, just flying around and throwing bodies around in there. Got to start watching more RAF, Real American Freestyle. Other than that, you really are on your own. Later.
Are you ready for el verano más futbolero de tu vida? Latin Nation Football Club turns into Copa Nation, our live stream experience every day de lunes a viernes, 11 a.m. Pacific and 2 p.m. Pacific as well. Checking in after the games. In that slot between games, we got you, my friend. We're going to have celebrities, legends of the game, content creators, and a bunch of our friends that are going to keep you entertained and informed, letting you know what's happening all across the 3 countries that are going to be experiencing this crazy, crazy football tournament. Don't miss it. Copa Nation right here on Latin Nation every day. Check it out.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
Their pitching has been really good in their bullpen, too. So Chris Gaethje, their general manager, credit to him. This guy was getting pounded a couple of years ago for decisions and everything like that, but man, it is seemingly working out. The fans, by the way, all of a sudden are pouring in there. Their attendance is on the rise too. So a great sign that the White Sox are in this thing. Now, long term, I don't know. Is this a postseason team? Is it a deep postseason team?
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.